and hymn in honor of love. By Edmund Spenser. Love, that long since hast to thy mighty powre perforce subdued my poor captived heart, and raging now therein with restless Stowre asterisk, doest tyrannize in every weaker part. Faine would I seek to ease my bitter smart by any service I might do to thee, or aught that else might to thee pleasing be. Stowre, commotion. And now t'assuage the force of this new flame, and make thee more propitious in my need. I mean to sing the praises of thy name, and thy victorious conquests to aid, by which thou madest many hearts to bleed of mighty victors, with wide wounds embrewed, and by thy cruel darts to thee subdued. Asterisk arid, set forth. Closing square bracket. Only I fear my wits, enfeebled late through the sharp sorrows which thou hast me bred, should faint, and words should fail me to relate the wondrous triumphs of thy great Godhead. But, if thou wouldst vouchsafe to overspread me with the shadow of thy gentle wing, I should enabled be thy acts to sing. Come, then, O come, thou mighty God of love, out of thy silver bowers and secret bliss, where thou dost sit in Venus' lap above, bathing thy wings in her ambrosial kiss, that sweeter far than any nectar is, come softly, and my feeble breast inspire with gentle fury, kindled of thy fire. And ye, sweet muses, which have often proved the piercing points of his avengeful darts, and ye, fair nymphs, which oftentimes have loved the cruel worker of your kindly smarts, prepare yourselves, and open wide your hearts for to receive the triumph of your glory, that made you merry oft when ye were sorry. And ye, fair blossoms of youth's wanton breed, which in the conquests of your beauty boast, wherewith your lovers feeble eyes you feed, but stir of their hearts, that needeth nurture most, prepare yourselves to march amongst his host, and all the way this sacred hymn do sing, made in the honor of your sovereign King. Great God of might, that reignest in the mind, and all the bodie to thy hest doest frame, victor of gods, subduer of mankind, that doest lions and fell tigers tame, making their cruel rage thy scornful game, and in their roaring taking great delight, who can express the glory of thy might? Or who alive can perfectly declare the wondrous cradle of thine infancy, when thy great mother Venus first thee bare, begot of plenty and of penury, though elder than thine own nativity, and yet a child, renewing still thy years, and yet the eldest of the heavenly peers? For ere this world still moving mighty mass out of great chaos ugly prison crept, in which his goodly face long hidden was from heaven's view, and in deep darkness kept, love, that had now long time securely slept in Venus' lap, unarmed then and naked, gone rear his head, by Clotho being waked, and taking to him wings of his own heat, kindled at first from heaven's life-giving fire, he gone to move out of his idle seat. Weakly at first, but after with desire lifted aloft, he gone to mount up higher, and, like fresh eagle, made his hardy flight throw all that great wide wast, yet wanting light. Asterisk higher, higher, yet wanting light to guide his wandering way, his own fair mother, for all creatures seeke, did lend him light from her own goodly ray. Then through the world his way he gone to take, the world, that was not till he did it make, whose sundry parts he from themselves did sever. The which before had lion confused ever. The earth, the air, the water, and the fire, then gone to range themselves in huge array, and with contrary forces to conspire each against other by all means they may, threading their own confusion and decay. Air hated earth, and water hated fire, till love relented their rebellious wire. He then them took, and, tempering goodly well their contrary dislikes with loved means, did place them all in order, and compelled to keep themselves within their sundry reins, together linked with adamantine chaîne. Yet so is that in every living wight they mix themselves, and show their kindly might. Asterisk reigns, kingdoms. So ever since they firmly have remained, and duly well observed his behest, through which now all these things that are contained within this goodly cope, both most and least, their being have, and daily are increased through secret sparks of his infused fire, which in the barrain cold he doth inspire. Thereby they all do live, and moved are to multiply the likeness of their kynd, whilst they seek only, without further care, to quench the flame which they in burning find. But man, that breathes a more immortal mind, not for lust's sake, but for eternity, seeketh to enlarge his lasting progeny. For having yet in his deducted sprite some sparks remaining of that heavenly fire, he is illumined with that goodly light, unto like goodly semblant to aspire. Therefore in choice of love he doth desire that seemies on earth most heavenly to embrace, that same is beauty, born of heavenly race. For sure, of all that in this mortal frame contained is, not more divine doth see me, or that resembleth more to mortal flame of heavenly light, than beauty's glorious beam. What wonder then, if with such rage extreme frail men, whose eyes seek heavenly things to see, at sight thereof so much enravished be? Which well perceiving, that imperious boy doth therewith tip his sharp empoined darts, which glancing throw the eyes with countenance conquests not till they have pierced the trembling hearts, and kindled flame in all their inner parts, which sucks the blood, and drinketh up the life, of careful wretches with consuming grief. Asterisk Q. From Wharton. Thenceforth they plain, and make full piteous moan unto the author of their baleful bane. The days they waste, the nights they grieve and groan, their lives they loathe, and heaven's light disdain. No light but that whose lamp doth yet remain fresh burning in the image of their eye, they deign to see, and seeing it still die. The whilst thou, tyrant love, doest laugh and scorn at their complaints, making their pain thy play. Whilst they lie languishing like thralls forlorn, the whiles thou doest triumph in their decay. And other whiles, their dying to delay, thou doest emmarble the proud heart of her whose love before their life they do prefer. So hast thou often done, I me the more. To me thy vassal, whose yet bleeding heart with thousand wounds thou mangled hast so sore, that whole remains scarce any little part. Yet to augment the anguish of my smart, thou hast enfrozen her disdain full breast, that no one drop of pity there doth rest. Why then do I this honor unto thee, thus to ennoble thy victorious name, sith thou doest show no favor unto me, nay once move ruth in that rebellious dame, somewhat to slack the rigor of my flame? Certes small glory doest thou win hereby, to let her live thus free, and me to die. But if thou be indeed, as men thee call, the world's great parent, the most kind preserver of living wights, the sovereign lord of all, how falleth it then that with thy furious fervor thou doest afflict as well the not deserver, as him that doth thy lovely heasts despise, and on thy subcts most doth tyrannize? Yet herein eke thy glory seemeth more, by so hard handling those which best thee serve, that, ere thou doest them unto grace restore, thou mayest well tree if they will ever swerve, and mayest them make it better to deserve, and, having got it, may it more esteem, for things hard gotten men more dearly deem. So hard those heavenly beauties be enfired, as things divine least passions do impress, the more of steadfast minds to be admired, the more they stayed be on steadfastness. But baseborn minds such lamps regard the less, which at first blowing take not hasty fire. Such fancies feel no love, but loose desire. For love is lord of truth and loyalty, lifting himself out of the lowly dust on golden plumes up to the purest ski, above the reach of oathly sinful lust, whose base effect, through cowardly distrust of his weak wings, dare not to heaven fly, but like a moldwarp ** in the earth doth lie. Affect, affection, passion. Moldwarp, mole. His dunghill thoughts, which do themselves inure to dirty dross, no higher dare aspire. Nay can his feeble earthly eyes endure the flaming light of that celestial fire which kindleth love in generous desire, and makes him mount above the native might of heavy earth, up to the heaven's height. Such is the powre of that sweet passion, that it all sordid baseness doth expel, and the refined mind doth newly fashion unto a fairer form, which now doth dwell in his high thought, that would itself excel, which he beholding still with constant sight, admires the mirror of so heavenly light. Whose image printing in his deepest wit, he thereon feeds his hungry fantasy, still full, yet never satisfied with it. Like Tantale, that in store doth sterved lee, so doth he pine in most satiety. For naught may quench his infinite desire, once kindled through that first conceived fire. Thereon his mind affixed wholly is, nay thinks on aught but how it to attain. His care, his ioi, his hope, is all on this, that seemes in it all blisses to contain, in sight whereof all other bliss seemes vain. Thrice happy man, might he the same possess, he feigns himself, and doth his fortune blesse. And though he do not win his wish to end, yet thus far happy he himself doth ween, that heaven such happy grace did to him lend as thing on earth so heavenly to have seen, his heart's enshrined saint, his heaven's queen, fairer than fairest in his feigning eye, whose sole aspect he counts felicity then forth he casts in his unquiet thought, what he may do her favor to obtain. What brave exploit, what peril hardly wrought, what puissant conquest, what adventurous pain, may please her best, and grace unto him gain. He dreads no danger, nor misfortune fears, his faith, his fortune, in his breast he bears. Thou art his God, thou art his mighty guide, thou, being blind, lett'st him not see his fears, but carriest him to that which he had aid, through seas, through flames, through thousand swords and spears. Nay aught so strong that may his force withstand, with which thou armest his resistless hand. The fifth verse of this stanza appears to have dropped out. C. Closing square bracket. Witness Leander in the Euxine waves, and stout Aeneas in the Trojan fire, Achilles piercing through the Phrygian glaives, and Orpheus, daring to provoke the wire of damned fiends, to get his love retire. For both through heaven and hell thou mockest way, to win them worship which to thee obey. Glaives, swords. And if by all these perils and these pains he may but purchase liking in her eye, what heavens of Ioi then to himself he feigns. Eftsoons he wipes quite out of memory whatever ill before he did abide. Had it been death, yet would he die again, to live thus happy as her grace to gain. Abide. Yet when he hath found favour to his will, he nath more can so contended rest, but forceth further on, and striveth still taprock more near, till in her inmost breast he may embosomed be and loved best, and yet not best, but to be loved alone. For love cannot endure a paragon. Paragon, competitor. The fear whereof, oh how doth it torment his troubled mind with more than hellish pain, and to his feigning fancy represent sights never seen, and thousand shadows vain, to break his sleep and waste his idle brain. Thou that hast never loved canst not believe least part of tevils which poor lovers grieve. The gnawing envy, the heart fretting fear, the vain surmises, the distrustful shows, the false reports that flying tales do bear, the doubts, the dongers, the delays, the woes, the feigned friends, the unassured foes, with thousands more than any tongue can tell, do make a lover's life a wretch's hell. Yet is there one more cursed than they all, that canker wormy, that monster, jealousy, which eats the heart and feeds upon the gall, turning all love's delight to misery, through fear of losing his felicity. Ah, gods! That ever ye that monster placed in gentle love, that all his joys defaced. By these, O love, thou doest thy entrance make unto thy heaven, and doest the more endear thy pleasures unto those which them partake, as after storms, when clouds begin to clear, the sun more bright and glorious doth appear. So thou thy folk, through pains of purgatory, dost bear unto thy bliss, and heaven's glory. There thou them placest in a paradise of all delight and IOU's happy rest, where they do feed on nectar heavenly wise, with Hercules and Hebe, and the rest of Venus' dearlings, through her bounty blessed, and lie like gods in Evora beds arrayed, with rose and lilies over them displayed. There with thy daughter pleasure they do play their hurdle sports, without rebuke or blame, and in her snowy bosom boldly lay their quiet heads, devoid of guilty shame, after full joyance of their gentle game. Then her they crown their goddess and their queen, and dick with flowers thy altars well beseen. Ay me, dear Lord, that ever I might hope, for all the pains and woes that I endure, to come at length unto the wished scope of my desire, or might myself assure that happy port for ever to recure. Then would I think these pains no pains at all, and all my woes to be but penance small. Recure, recover, gain. Then would I sing of thine immortal praise and heavenly hymns such as the angels sing, and thy triumphant name then would I raise above all the gods, thee only honoring, my guide, my God, my victor, and my king. Till then, dread Lord, vouchsafe to take of me this simple song, thus framed in praise of thee.